All right, guys. Not sure if anybody's in here yet, but thought I'd drop in real quick. It's kind of a random live on a Monday night, but I don't always have a bunch of time to do lives, so fortunately, I can't really schedule them. So, unfortunately, I can't really schedule them, like I said. So, nope. Unfortunately, I can't really schedule them, like I said. All right. After we got through the fumbling part, I wanted to make sure everything was working. So let's start over with the intro and see what we can do here. Um, Give me just a second, get set up, do some housekeeping. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. All right, we are live. Everything's working. So, had a great week. This weekend was spectacular. We did a event in Rochester Hills, and it was a family day. It was wonderful. I did take my granddaughter to that one also. They had some bounce houses set up. It was a really nice community event, and it was for the shooting victims that happened or the families got shot. The bikes did really well. Hey, Frogzilla, good to see you. You're always there to support, man. I like you a lot. Hope things are going well for you and the family. Um, but we had a great week. So that weekend was great. The bounce houses, my granddaughter loved that stuff. She loves the motorcycles. She got a short little ride on my son's bobber on the way out. My chopper decided to do chopper things after we got there. Wouldn't start. Um, Got it home. It started right up. I guess it got staged right for the show or something. But we did well. We rolled in a little bit late. Ron Finch was there as a celebrity judge. Great guy. I know Ron Finch. I've seen him at multiple shows. He's a really good guy. He's really big in the industry. He's a local guy to the area. So it was nice having him there. But um, he recognized my bike from a couple other shows that I did. I did one in Chicago with him several years back. In fact, let's see here. I think that one was the 33rd annual Chicago Motorcycle Show and Swap Meet. I took third place. Um, he recognized me. I recognized him. We had a nice little short chat. Um, you know, it's nice to have your family with you and stuff. Mrs. Salty went with me. That was great. Kind of got set up. I didn't expect much because we got there late. Um, the judging was taking place. Got my son's bike rolled off, but he did manage to take the judge's choice award. Pretty nice plaque, actually. The flaming motorcycle kind of looks like a bobber. Thought it was pretty fitting. It was really nice to have my son. Make me proud to have my son's bike do that, being his first build. Super proud of him on that, and the family stuff makes me just more and more proud. Um, but that was the one in Rochester's Hills, and it was reason to ride. They put on a good show. That was a large show. A lot of people there. Hey Shane, how you doing? Just kind of throwing in some quick reviews on the show we did over the last couple of weeks. I've been busy, kind of showing my work out there. I kind of think the stuff's art, and I've really starting to get enjoying that part of it. And my granddaughter really loves the motorcycle shows at 3 years old. So the time I get to spend with her and take her to these motorcycle shows, even makes it more enjoyable. Um, like I was saying, they did some bounce houses, and I couldn't imagine anything happening to my family like happened to theirs. So we did donate a little bit more to them because of that. And my wife, she's got a soft spot in her heart for families and things like that. For that, we didn't even know going into the show what it was about until we got there, and there was a considerable amount of bikes there, and nice bikes showed up. I dropped a little short, kind of funny one about my chopper being out in the wild doing chopper things, and I was kind of mad at it, so I'd walked away and just kind of left it set where it was at, and took a video back, and it turned out pretty good. It did really well, but I still have no idea why it wouldn't start. It just turned it on, headlight came on, hit the button, nothing happened. Figured the battery was dead, got it home, so went to start looking at it because thinking about going to another show this coming weekend, probably be the last one of the season, and it started right up. Like I said, it's chopper things. Those gremlins, you can't ever get rid of them sometimes on a chopper. But the chopper the War Machine chopper is going to come into the shop. Mrs. Salty and me talked about it on the ride back from the show. There's a few things I'd like to do to it that I didn't do to it the first time. So the things to come, we want to take it to the next level for that chopper. It means a lot to me. That was kind of my first build that I did in the living room. And I don't think I'll ever get rid of it, but there's just a few things as you go along when you do things that you'd like to do different. So that's what I'm going to do there is change up a few things. I'm going to talk to a painter, maybe find another painter, somebody that wants to do a little bit of artwork, showcase their artwork on it, see what I can do there. But so before that, we had the show in Livonia, and that was the first one I'd had out for a while. That was the first show that we did. That was not this past weekend, but the weekend before. I'm sure most of you guys have seen the videos of it that I put out. My son's bobber, I have not hung this stuff up yet. So my son Bobber took the Best in Show People's Choice Award. To be honest with you, he was kind of upset about it because it was the People's Choice Award. After he got the Donnie Smith People's Choice Award, he wanted something different because he kind of wanted it judged more to find out what it was. And my chopper had brought back from that one, he brought the Judge's Choice Award, which is smaller. And to me, the judges looking at stuff, they're not as, they're not as the people. It's what the people like, that's kind of what everything's about is what people like. I mean, even social media, if people don't like you, they don't watch you. So hopefully thanks, Rog. Always there to support. You're great, man. Like I just told somebody else today, it's not about how many people you take down this stuff. It's how many people you bring up to the top with you. Don't drag people down. There's no need to do that stuff. We do enough. But then after back to the show thing, after that, and we went back to this plaque, for the guys just coming in. That's from this weekend show. My son was upset about not getting Judge's Choice, and Ron Finch, and there's some other builders there that were the celebrity judges, and he brought back Judge's Choice from a bigger show than the one that my chopper did. So that was another prideful thing. I think I've talked about it twice now, just because I am proud of that. That's his first build. So season's starting to wrap up. I think I'm going to go to Ohio for the Devil's Staircase Nationals this coming weekend if things work out. They are having a bike show. Somebody reached out to me about it. I may take a couple bikes to that. Me and Mrs. Salty, we were talking about doing that one. Not sure because there's some stipulations on it. It is out of state. Not a problem for me or my wife to do that, but with my granddaughter, don't know if we can do the weekend travel with her or not. So that's kind of coming to see how that goes out. But the other thing we did is the D.A.M show. Detroit Antique Motorcycles by Detroit Randy. We were invited to that from Cycle Showcase in Missouri. Now, let me tell you about that show. That show at the Tangent Gallery is just like Cycle Showcase. It's not about the motorcycle builders. It's about the motorcycle. It's not about the people. It doesn't cost anything to go. It's free to people to go watch. He doesn't get any money from that. It's just about the community and about the people. And that's what I've come to like about that whole thing in the motorcycle community, the chopper community. I'm not a judgmental kind of person, and if you judge me, I don't care if you do or don't, but it's, if somebody builds a motorcycle, it's not about why they did this or what they did. They did it because it's their motorcycle. It's custom because it's custom to them. Why they did that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter. It is each person to his own and what they like. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't have to stand around and talk about what you don't like about it. Find something else you do like and talk about what you like in it, not what you don't like. So that show, but it's very family oriented. There's kids all over. Randy's very nice, very great guy. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, you want to talk about history, that man knows history. And if he doesn't know it, he'll research it and come back and tell you about it. So he's a great guy. Being part of that family is just awesome. In fact, from that, we brought home this. So, and that was a huge thing. He does really nice rings for his shows. I think this ring means probably more than any one of these trophies up here, just because of it being awarded from him in the way that he presents his show and the kind of person that he is. So my granddaughter, I don't know, you've probably seen the short. My granddaughter riding on my chopper. She rode right down the street of Detroit on the gas tank of my chopper. It was not expected when it happened. It's one of those things that when it happens, it happens. In fact, it was so unexpected. I was sitting there letting her rev on my motorcycle, and she asked to go for a ride. And I'd had my phone in my pocket and didn't want to worry about her. It was to the point where some random person filmed that with my phone that I had handed my phone to at the show and just kind of tossed it because I couldn't hold on to my phone. My main focus was on her. People blocked off the road on both sides. So not only was nobody going to drive, nobody was going to walk out, nobody was going to ride out on their motorcycle. Everything was blocked off and it was slow. And it was a great ride. It was a slow ride. It lasted about 30 seconds, but it was completely awesome to share that moment with my granddaughter. Her first ride on the motorcycle. I watched that. I think I've shared 3 or 4 different versions of it, but it's about the best one I got. So having that out there, and I shared it. Like I said, I like family things. Sharing the motorcycle stuff with my family has become huge. Over the past year, building that bike with my son, I think I actually found something I enjoy more than riding. Yes, it has something to do with motorcycles, but the time that I spend with my family is huge. The community here, I mean, you got Frogzilla. He's a great supporter here. Dave's here, man. He's great. He's been following me since I started. 2-4, nice to see you in here. Moto Bomb's not in here, which is surprising. That man's everywhere. But the community, Evil Rick, Shane, there's just so many people out there. They're great in supporting each other and bringing it up. In fact, I didn't even notice I've hit the 500 mark on my subscribers. I am going to do a giveaway of some sort. I haven't figured it out yet. I kind of hit 500 out of nowhere. So it climbed up there, hit that. So I have not figured that out yet, but watch for something to come on that. There's going to be something. Obviously, the watch time hours, everybody talks about that. I'm not really that much worried about it. I kind of like see the growth and I like hanging out with you guys. So it's just give away a chopper. And I actually, that's not going to happen, but there is something in the works similar to that. So I thought about that. I wish I could afford to do that. That would be completely awesome. I'd build, the build I'm doing now. I thought about doing it more interactive and let people choose on things and putting that out there. And then that it set something up and it went a different direction. Yes, 2-4, that's very true. Good content always grows on its own. Just give away some good advice. And the best advice I got is share share motorcycles with the generations to come. That's what's going to bring this up and bring this whole all these motorcycles. It doesn't matter what you ride, as long as you're getting out there and riding. But if you're sharing that experience with somebody younger, I remember when I was younger and riding a trail. I think it was a Trail 70 around the yard. You know, I got in a lot of trouble as a kid, but motorcycles will keep you out of trouble too because it gives you something to do. It's better than video games. If you get into it, and you're not going to have money to do much else. Once you get into it and you cross that line, and it will take every bit of money you have. But you have, just like anything, you have to control what you spend on it. But the time that I spend on motorcycles with my family is the best time in the world. I have a growing family, and every single one of my kids, luckily enough, has some sort of interest. And my 3-year-old granddaughter has now got that interest in the motorcycles. When we put them in the trailer, and she stood back, and she's like, they're hot, but she wanted to help strap them. So just got a shovel head, and I realized forgot what it meant to keep. Yes, yes. So is it a kickstart, Dave? Because I have a kickstart that I've been working on, and I realized that I'm getting older because kickstarts aren't as much fun as they used to be. So either that, or I got to figure out more stuff on timing and things like that. Shane, yeah, they can get you in trouble too. They get me in trouble. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. My wife says this is probably a support meeting more so sometimes, because I have a problem where I can't just pass a motorcycle on the side of the road sitting there for sale and just drive by it. I mean, it's almost to the point now where my wife will make me look the other way if she sees one first. And I told her, I said, it's contagious. Now she's looking for them in one way or another. She's involved in the situation of motorcycles sitting on the side of the road, whether she's trying to distract me, but she's still looking for them, which is helpful because I have now figured out the distraction point and I look the other direction for that motorcycle. So she's helping. I forget what enabler. She's enabling me. In fact, the trip to Rochester's Hills took a little bit longer. Luckily, we had the trailer, but we didn't make a deal on the motorcycle. But we did stop. I can't drive by. I can't let one sit on the side of the road, and I've just got to figure out a way to get more space. Everybody's probably got to have space. Yes, my wife is great. I love her. I don't know how she puts up with my shit. So she all the time tells me. Sometimes I come out here just not to get away from her, but I think it's for me to get away from her. For her to get away from me, I come out here because I think she, I get looking on the internet, and she doesn't shop a lot, but I shop motorcycle parts a lot. Always looking for the next thing and trying to figure out what to do next. Yeah, I still a pinball fan, Frog, not the kind on your phone or on a video game. I mean, the actual pinball machines. She always needs a break from me. I'm getting better with the camera. I'm getting more comfortable with the camera. In person, I'm a little quiet, but after I get to know people, I tend to joke around and everything. I'm like a keyboard warrior, I guess, when I'm in lives and everything and chats, and I can type and talk a lot better than I can. Sometimes I just got to slow down. My mind's always going 50 different directions. What 2.4 on what engine? Yeah, the cameras are rough, Jane. So let me put that one up there. So So I'm not real good talking all the time about myself. I just I do like to put that stuff out there. Like I said, my having my son be involved, having my daughters be involved. My daughter went to the D.A.M show, hung out with me after her marathon for suicide prevention of veterans. She drove 2.5 hours across the state to come hang out at the show with me and be supportive of me. Normally, I would have been at the race with them, but I chose to watch my granddaughter, and I was already invited to that show prior to knowing about the race that my kids had entered. So it meant a lot to my son to have his bike there. So we as a family chose to do the split, and then everybody would come to me after the race, which worked out really well. So we did get some time, ate some good food on the grill there. Everything was good. I met some pretty big influencers I didn't expect to see there. So, and it's good, not just vets, Frog, but it is always good to support and thank vets. But it's good to support each other and everything. Support your families. Frogzilla's got some rough stuff he's going through. If you guys don't know about it, check him out, support him. Frog, if you want to share your link for your GoFundMe and that'd be great. Because he's in the community and he supports everybody, and if you can do something to support him in his times, that would be very good. Sometimes people aren't always done right by the justice system or the people that run it. Not that every one of them is bad, but sometimes they make the wrong decisions too, and people get the wrong end of the stick on that. And I do believe with Frogzilla's case, that's what's happening. He needs a little bit of help on that. So check it out. And if you can, do something to help him out. This community is great, and we need to support each other. Like I said before, I think I said it 2 or 3 times in this, and sometimes I feel like I'm rambling, but I've got that 500 subscriber thing, and I got to get some watch time hours. And the 7 of you that are watching this are helping with that in one way or another, and I appreciate it. So, just I'm sorry, I'm reading a couple comments. I'm trying to keep up and do multitask, but my brain doesn't do that well sometimes. I do jump back and forth on that. 7's more than you ever had. 7's probably Dave's here, man. Probably 4 people there in the chat, and probably 2 of my kids probably in there somewhere hiding out, creeping on me or something, trying to support me and not wanting to talk. So, but yeah, I see a lot. Hey, Ray's Motorway, I finally caught one. Hey, this guy right here, he's a great guy. Ray's been, when I first started doing this, I talked to this guy, and I think this is the first live he's on. He's a great guy. He did some lives, and that's kind of what got me going in it. And I kind of always liked the guy, and I got a shirt from him. Like I've said, I've bounced some ideas off. It's good to see him in here. Haven't seen him around in a while, so you guys definitely go over and support his page too. All right. Yes, I know what you're talking about. And I have not personally used them. I do know of people that have taken care of that, and it does take care of the tick. That shimmy and that bushing is what causes that tick in the twin cams. I haven't got a ton of work done on the twin cams, but I've got a couple sitting over here. They're in the process. I just haven't started tearing into them. I know the Sportster stuff like the back of my hand. Having transmission problems with this motor right here. That's to come. That's an old iron head. The plan for that one's going to be, this one's wild. It's probably been done because, like I've said before, there's not a lot in the motorcycle community that you got 2 wheels. There's not a lot that hasn't been done. Um, but it is nice to see that, like I said, I've been to 3 shows, and those 3 shows that I've been to, it's really nice to see the big wheel bagger thing kind of passing. Not that I don't like them, I'm just not a big wheel bagger kind of person. So, um, my wife's bagger, it's got air ride on it because she's 4'11", but I doesn't have a big wheel on it. I do like the wider front tires, but I just not a. I like the way they look, but I just don't. I'm just not a fan. I like choppers and bobbers and um, old motorcycles, classic motorcycles. Yeah, I understand the life thing. I mean, I people are like, you need to schedule lives and schedule this stuff when you put videos out. I don't. I can't schedule my life, let alone try to schedule a live or a video, and I don't have time to edit videos. I just put it out there. I'm real. If you don't like it, you ain't gotta watch it. I've said it before, and if, and it's just been a review on the things that I've done. Yeah, you just don't want what everybody else has. Yeah, that's for sure. I'm building a small block Chevy right now in the shop for a guy, and when he asked me if I'd do it, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. It's different now. Small block Chevy is the original swap motor. I know it's getting away from motorcycles, but that small block Chevy was swapped into everything. Now it's LSs, and I'm so over LSs that it's not even worth it anymore. Yeah, that's a good idea, Frog, and I thought about that. Uh, the live stream in the shop it's a good idea, but it's kind of hard to do with 1 or 2 people without having somebody talk and follow along. I just can't figure out a way to make it work. I get distracted by the computer when it's on, so I get less work done and not as fat and don't get as much accomplished. Uh, this is very. I think we all have this problem right there. That we all like motorcycles. The problem has been for them because they just it's tough. I mean, the economy's not the best right now, and it's probably not gonna get better for a while. I mean, everybody should have a motorcycle, but it's a family can't ride around. Well, wait a second. That most families can't ride around a motorcycle. I mean, I'm literally it can't be. I mean, I well, got motorcycle for everybody in my family, and um, I'm looking forward to the day that we can all go for a ride together. So that is definitely something that I'm in the works of doing. I was disappointed at the D.A.M show when they did the ride out that I was unable to do that, but I was happy and content because my granddaughter was there. So that to me, having her experience that was more than the ride. Um, and being able to do that was great. And watching her watch that stuff is just watching the motorcycles go by and waving at them. She's got the wave down. She's riding on the tank of my motorcycle, waving at people, videoing. Uh, she kind of stole the show. It was kind of a ride, and I said it was a ride into the show, but we'd already been there for a while, and um, she just suddenly decided she wanted to go for a ride. I did get a little bit of slack from a couple people on it, even on the video, but the fact of the matter is that what, it was a controlled environment, and I would have stood up and let the bike go do bike things on its own, uh, and grabbed her if something would have went haywire. But I also had the kill switch, so I mean, I don't think there was anything. Everything. There's always a chance of something going wrong, but I did as much as I could to do that. Yeah. Oh, she. I didn't even video. I've got lots of the videos. I didn't put a lot of it out there. Some of that stuff. I took your advice, Ray's Motor Life, on it. I kept some of that. It's just stuff for my own stuff. Um, it did give me a lot of some subscribers and stuff. But I took your advice on that. And I keep a lot of the video and a lot of the footage for myself because the memories are there. And she will go on YouTube. Well, she won't go on YouTube, but if it gets brought up on YouTube and somebody shows her the video, and she gets that same exact excitement. She'll come out here in the shop. You know, she climbs up and down on the motorcycles at the shows. This show last weekend, she was on the motorcycle, and a couple of people are like, "Well, she shouldn't just let her do it on her own." And you know, what if it's somebody else's bike? Well, she knows what bikes are mine, and she knows what bikes she can do it on. Yeah, she's only 3, but she's not going to go touch somebody's motorcycle because she listens and she knows that she can't do that unless it's mine. And she'll even ask me before she does it on my own motorcycle, and I don't really care, but I appreciate the fact that she asks because that teaches me that she has the respect and knowingness to ask before she does it. So let's see here. Yeah, there's Shane. There's a lot of different swap motors and stuff in there, and that VMAX motor is a runner, man. Old Yamahas, old Hondas. I've been looking. I've seen a couple of people that I've started to follow from some of the shows I've met at. And then talking to my dad, been thinking about doing Kawasaki or a Honda, maybe Yamaha, old chopper build. We found some pictures of of an old digger style that my dad did in the early 70s. That I'd kind of like to rebuild that bike. Not the exact bike because we don't know where it's at, but there's enough pictures there where I think I can almost pull it off. I think that'd be a good time. And I'm also trying to get my dad a little bit more back involved into it, which is starting to work a little bit. He did call me from the Harley store the other day, which is a good sign. Yes, the old Suzukis in the 70s were fast, Yamahas, Kawasaki's. I mean, Harleys are great. I like Harleys. I like Sportsters. I like every motorcycle. If it's got 2 wheels, I've pretty much decided that if it's a motorcycle, I like it. Not real fond of the slingshots, but you know, some people are, and I'm not gonna say if you get out there and you're driving around, that's something, you know. I like cars too, so, but I'm just not. My prime example, my dad, he got me into motorcycles and everything, and I was like, Dad, you can get a trike. And my dad said he wants a motorcycle. He said he ain't gonna ride a trike. And my grandfather, he at 75, 80 years old, he wouldn't ride a trike. He'd ride a motorcycle, but he didn't want nothing to do with a trike. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but they just never looked at them as motorcycles, and I don't think there's anything wrong with them. We did have 3-wheelers when they first came out. And, we had them for about 2 weeks. I grew up riding dirt bikes. Did some flat track racing. I did some ice racing. And I found out real quick when I was young, when those 3-wheelers came out, real quick, you don't stick your leg out on a 3-wheeler. It ripped me right clean off that thing. And my dad tumbled on his, and that was the end of 3-wheelers for us. We went back to dirt bikes. I'll never forget them yellow 3-wheelers, and they said they float. They don't float. Well, they do, but they don't float like they advertised it. We sunk them. You know, and everybody said, "Oh, the fear is you turn too fast on them and they flip." And yeah, that happens too. We tried that. It happens. But the pain and the real part is they came out with Nerf bars on the 3-wheelers for people like us that grew up sticking your leg out, flat tracking it, and sticking it around the ice, and sticking your leg out, dragging your foot. Because you do that on a 3-wheeler or a 4-wheeler, it, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. And I don't care if And when you run your leg over, it fucking hurts. It don't just hurt the body; it hurts the pride because you just watch that three wheeler keep going because it just ripped you clean off. Um, have the old lady put on roller skates before you ride a trike. There you go. Yeah. So when I was 6, maybe 7, going to this one, this is Ray's Motor Life again, but I'm not just meaning to highlight his, but this one hits one. So when I was like 6 or 7, I had a Schwinn banana seat bike that my dad raked out, way out, and stretched the forks on. I've talked about it previously with chopper flop, where you just think that I think chopper flop is normal. Like motorcycles that don't have it, I think there's something wrong with them. But so we had there was a telephone guide wire on the sidewalk by our house, and I had this raked out Schwinn banana seat bike and pedals on it, and then yeah, it was low. I don't know if it was low because it was stretched or what, but I'm riding this bike and I'm cool, you know, and I hit this telephone guide wire. The front tire was that skinny tire, that guide wire. It went right up that telephone guide wire. And I was young, you know. I'm not smart enough to stop. I mean, who thinks about stopping? So I got up to about where the rear tire hit it, and the crank of that motorcycle, or the crank of that pedals hit that guide wire, and that bike flung around like that and slammed me down the sidewalk. And it was hung up on the guide wire. My dad's running, wondering if I'm all right, and I'm laughing. You know, I'm not smart. I guess I wasn't smart enough to know pain. I had a big gash on my head, and I definitely wasn't smart enough for a helmet. Maybe that's where the problem started. That could be something, you know, because it wasn't 3 weeks later after that where my dad had a early 70s Ford van, the flat nose styles. It was like the free candy van, but it was brown. So it was like the free turd van, I guess, the free shit, maybe the free shit van because it was shit brown. I'll never forget this van. But anyways, we're driving. We lived on a corner and had a median. We turned that corner, and I'll never forget. Remember when you were younger, you'd have Matchbox cars and you had little cases that you held them in. Well, anyways, I'm sitting in the passenger seat. My dad turns the corner, and that door on that van flung open, and my dad reaches over to grab me. Well, he's a big dude, and I'm just a little 7, 8-year-old. Well, he missed, but when he was able to hit me, which kind of just helped me out the door, more like a shove. Maybe it was. Really, it could have been a shove. But I don't think my dad done that to me. I think he might have really been trying to catch me. But anyways, my Matchbox car went flying. I flew out of the van. Yeah, we didn't have seatbelt laws back then or car seats. Well, we had car seats, but it wasn't a thing. There was a metal dashboard. It saved us. We all lived. But I flew out of that van, landed on a sidewalk, same sidewalk, just different side of it. So I landed, smashed my head on the sidewalk again. That's where the problem started. But anyways, I'm more worried about the Matchbox cars, picking them up. And my dad pulls the van over, gets out, and he says, "Are you all right?" So I'm getting back in the van, and my dad's got he's throwing my cars in the van, pissed off, and got the door open, the side door open, not just the passenger door that I fell out of. But he's looking at the latch. He's got the other door open. He's got a latch, so he's having me get in the passenger side, the two front flipping out door things. I'm a mechanic. I should have better wording on that stuff, but I'm kind of lost in the story, and it's not motorcycle related. But this van was 3 on the tree too, and there's a story with that. So I get in this van. My hand's still partially in. My dad slams the door, pissed off. My finger is still inside the door. Now I've realized what pain is. It wasn't pain falling out hitting my head on the sidewalk. The pain was getting your hand slammed inside of a sliding van door and hearing it latch. So I'm screaming, and He's like, "What's wrong now? I thought you weren't hurt." Well, my finger's gashed, and he wraps a rag around it. We go, we go to my grandparents, and my grandma's like, "Oh, she was a nurse." He says, "You better take her to the doctor. That finger looks pretty bad." But, nobody's concerned about the fact I fell out of the van and hit my head on the sidewalk. I flipped over a bike, hit my head, but my finger's got a cut on it, and that's time to go to the hospital. So, but my dad he was a single dad. He was great. I got tons of stories and garage stuff that he did. And I mean, I learned from stories from my uncle, things that my dad used to do. From people my dad knew. I learned all sorts of stories. I'm glad he's still around. And I hear stuff about him from people, and I ask him about it because he's still around to ask, and I do like that. So, but bringing up my family into this stuff and letting them share those experiences with me, that's a lot of fun. I do. It seems stressful when I ride with my family a little bit more though than when I ride alone too, because I'm always worried about them or what's going to happen and trying to conjure all that stuff in my brain. It don't work very good. So, feel like I've talked your guys' ears off. I hope you're all finding it interesting. I'm thinking about dropping the link if anybody's interested in coming in. I got to figure out how to do that though. So let's see here. Yeah, there you go. If I had to take 6 months off for every time I hit my head, I would get nowhere. I mean, I hit my head, especially at work. My cars, everything. I hit my head at least once or twice a day. Pretty good hits sometimes. But they don't bother me much. There's not a whole lot up there to hurt. So that's right. That is right. And that's where we're at. You got to keep going till you can't go no more. We're getting older. Like I've said before, you have to you have to share this community with people to come. Otherwise, it's just nowhere to go. I'm going to drop this link. I'm not sure how this works. So if you get stuck in the waiting area and I can't find you right away, we'll get it figured out. So like I said, I'm new to this. So let's see if anybody else wants to jump on here. I think I've been at this for about 45 minutes talking about myself, and I don't like doing that, but I like hanging out and talking. So I'll maybe go for another 15 minutes or so, see how it goes. See if anybody wants to jump on. I think that worked. If the link worked, yep, looks like the link worked. If somebody wants to jump on here, we'll figure out how this works. So like I said, just kind of learning, just like everybody else in the whole life of YouTube and social media. When I started doing the chopper stuff and started getting into motorcycles, we didn't have this kind of stuff where you could find you bounced down the road yesterday? That don't sound good. You all right? So but I'm looking forward to Devil's Staircase, like I said. I like I've talked about earlier, I was the old flat track racer, and I did some ice races as a kid. That stuff was a lot of fun, and hill climbing, flat track, and I still like to watch it. Yeah, Froggy, what happened there? Now we're curious. How's a frog bounce down the road? I mean, does anybody else play that game when they were a kid? That what was that? Frogger? That Frogger game. Remember that frog jumps across and the little cars? They were all that was video games for us. Yeah. Um, I like the old broadcasters and all that kind of stuff. I really like that stuff Billy Lane's doing now. Actually, Detroit Randy that put on that D.A.M show, he's big in that stuff too. And um, I would like to have one of those one day. I would like to do that. I'd like to do the trog, or some of them classic rides like that. Yeah, no problem, Frog. Yeah. So or Ray, I get it. I don't jump on it. I just put it out there. See, it'll be on your next video. Oh, but we got to know was the bike okay? There we go. Frog just had to one up Lolly on her little incident there. So the truth is, Lolly did it to Frog, but he's not going to put that out. So we went and made a video. That's why the video hasn't been out yet. So how? Whoops. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at stuff in the camera. I was reading comments, and look over here, and this is like the prideful section where you put the stuff at it and you throw stuff at it all the time. He's laughing her fun. I'll bet she is. My wife always laughs when I get hurt. That's right. How's my bike? That's right. I took a pretty good one. 20 years ago. I was sitting at a red light. Actually, my Spagster that's in here. You can't see it on the camera. But I was sitting at a light, stopped. I think I told that Lolly teach him to behave. This is the truth of the whole thing of this the truth here. Now she's here. She's gonna tell her side of the story. See, he didn't fall down. So what probably happened is Lolly was involved in what happened. And we all have that moment where we say that thing to the wife that we shouldn't have said. Well, that's what happened to Frog. But we'll see what happens when the video comes out. We'll see. Let's see if the video looks fabricated or not, just to help Lolly cover up the situation. What happened? So, but anyways, I was on my wife's Bagster before it was my wife's Bagster. Yep, there you go. So I was sitting at the light, and my buddy was a firefighter, and stopped at the light. Drunk driver come through and he's sitting next to me. He didn't get hit, but I got hit, and I took it off. That rear tire opened up like a popped, split the wheel like a banana. Rear wheel was jammed underneath the bike. I had a helmet on. I did. This is another one of those head injury things, like multiple times. But I had a helmet on, and the force broke the strap on the helmet off, and the helmet flew across 4 lanes, landed in a parking lot across the street. Well, I hit the car, head hit the windshield, shattered the windshield. The drunk driver then decided to slam on the brakes, and I come off that car right back onto the bike, except where the bike was crumpled up, and I hit the gas tank and put a big old dent in the gas tank. And then the guy hit the gas. So, like I said, my buddy was a firefighter. He's watching me get hit the windshield, fly back off, hit my bike. Now the car has got half of my bike underneath it with me on the bike, driving away from the scene, dragging everything, including me. So he kicks the window out of the car, reaches in. Now it's dragging me and the bike, him down the road, and he's reaching in trying to grab his keys and shut the thing off. He finally gets it shut off. We're in the middle of the intersection. He throws the keys, and when the cops show up, he's trying to get this guy that's trying to take off running, trying to tend to me, and they're trying to figure out what happened. I don't remember any. This is all what I got told of what happened. When I woke up, I remember hearing the helicopter, and I'm laying there. They've cut my chaps off me, my pants off me. I'm laying there and kind of dazed, trying to figure everything out. And my buddy says, the first thing you said is, "How is the bike?" And he said even the paramedics kind of chuckled, because I mean, I'm lucky to be alive. And I'm asking first question, not like you're getting ready to go for a helicopter ride and you're wondering how your motorcycle is. And well, I rebuilt it, it's back running again. But it's one of those things that life's one of those things that you got to be thankful for when it happens. And everybody has an incident once in a while on a motorcycle. It's just going to happen. It's just how you got to be careful. So, I'm going to try to do Monday nights a little bit more, because I know there's not. I try not to step on people's toes in these things either. And like I said earlier, it's about bringing other people up with you and not how many you take down. So I don't like to jump on and take somebody else's time slot or anything like that. Or if I see somebody else having something going on, I usually try not to do anything then. But scheduling in my life is very rough. I have a busy life, and I like it that way. This is a hobby. Oh wow, I didn't see that, Frog. That's crazy. I don't film on my bike a lot. I tried it once, and my rides are kind of my time. I guess that might be selfish, but a lot of times my family's with me. I shouldn't say I don't film. I do film some stuff on the ride, but I don't share it. So I just. I mean, the comments again, stop talking, so I'm sorry. But yeah, yeah, so everybody's kind of misread, and it's nice to see them in here. And I miss his lives. I mean, they're a good time going side chat and everything. I know a lot of people miss him. We kind of hope he comes back sooner or later and starts doing his thing again. But if he doesn't, it's good to see him still doing things. I know he went to the smoke out. In fact, I kind of planned on it. I still got the poster hanging up there. It's just life happens, and I can't afford to do everything. I wish I could, but I can't build bikes, spend time with my family, do all that stuff, and go to all the events I went to. Yeah, here, look at this. See, Frog had to learn on his own too. See, we're not the only ones that had. I think Lolly's saying Frog had to learn on his own. That's right. That's right, Ray. That is very true. I mean, I do not. What is that? Do I look like I give a fuck? Because I don't, and I don't care what other people think. And I, you know, and it's. I was surprised. Like I said earlier, I was surprised when I hit 500 subscribers. I mean, I'm surprised there's that many people in here watching or even chatting. I figured I'd drop on here for 30 minutes and talk about, the shows and the awards and everything. I like dropping the shorts. Consider the need. I don't have the attention span to record a video or to set a video up and do a bunch of stuff. So it's just one of those things that yeah, I got taught this one. Yeah, I got taught to ride. It was an unusual way, probably. My dad had a motorcycle and I wanted to ride it. So he set me in the seat, showed me where the throttle was, where the clutch was, and well, I don't think my dad thought it was in gear when he let the clutch out. And, well, my dad wasn't a fast runner. He wasn't as fast a runner as fast as I was learning how to twist that throttle. And that ride didn't go very well either. That's one of those accident rides, almost like the three on the tree van I talked about earlier. When I was young, my dad went inside the house. We lived in a driveway on a slight hill. I think most driveways are on a slight hill, so water drains away from the garage and not into the garage. Well, we lived on a slight hill grade. My neighbor across the street had a more uphill driveway with the garage, and that's a good thing for the rest of the story. So my dad went inside. Van was shut off, but it was three on the tree, and I'd always watch my dad grab a hold of that shifter and shift it. Well, he went inside, and I thought I'd jump over in the driver's seat and act like I was driving. Well, when you grab that three on the tree shifter and you pull it down and it comes out, the old man takes off. Even though it was a slight downhill. So we rolled backwards down the hill. My dad's inside the house, right? Now on the other side of the doors, garage door is shut. My dad's motorcycles and a couple of his buddies' bikes. Well, the old van rolled backwards down the driveway just fine and made it across 2 lanes of traffic, no cars coming. And I was safe. Hold on just 1 second. I'll be right back, guys, and I'll finish that story. Give me just a second. I gotta run in the house real fast. All right, guys. Sorry. Care package. So, wasn't expecting that. So. All right. So let's see. What did I miss while I was gone? And I'll finish my story. All right. So, anyways, I grabbed that handle. I pulled it down. That van took off, went across the street down that short grade driveway, went up the other driveway. It was uphill, and it was probably downhill a little bit after it crossed the road. When it came back, it went back down and right in the garage door, right, hit that garage door and flexed it just a little bit. That was the first part of the ride, because when the door flexed back, it gave the van a little push. So the second, my dad had heard that crash inside the house when I hit the garage door the first time. Well, that van sped up, rolled right back down faster, but went up the other driveway. No, it went up the other driveway a little bit farther this time. Now, about this time, my dad's coming out the front door of the house. Here comes the van. It ain't running, but it's coming down a lot faster down that second hill, coming right straight towards that garage door. And I'm thinking, man, I can't reach no pedals. And I watched my dad, kind of do this kind of stuff. And I can't reach no pedals from the seat. I think I was standing on the seat holding on to the steering wheel. I was having a heck of a time. Yeah, that time was about ready to end. So we hit that garage door the second time. It didn't flex this time. It kind of looked like one of the mouse where it eats something. And it was a wooden door. And it was a wooden door that the whole door picked up. It wasn't panels. But it had a window in it now because I done went through it. Now on the other side of it was 3, 4, 5 motorcycles. They were all standing on the kickstands when my dad had closed the door and we got in the van to leave. Well, it hit one, and I think it was like a domino effect. I think every motorcycle that was in the garage was tipped over at that time. And if it wasn't, it was probably tipped over by my dad coming running through to get to me. And, well, I never tried to drive a car again until I was told I could drive. Because I heard every loop of that belt coming out. Every single one of them. And I deserved everything that came after that. So, but that van to me, that's why I still call it the free candy van. That was the shit van, because that man took my finger out, threw me out of it, and, well, ran me through a garage door and took a couple motorcycles that, yeah, probably shouldn't happen. So, I didn't know you had a blowout too, Ray. I thought your belt just broke. Wow. Yeah, you see the video? My belt broke. Yeah, I was. I just. A couple months ago, I was decided on the weekend I was going to do an iron butt. I was miles away from completing that, and when I say miles, I think I might have been under 10, but I was still miles. I forgot about the fact when you plan your ride that you also got to plan the return part of it in that, because I would have done a mile iron butt plus. But anyways, I was a few miles from completing my iron butt when my belt decided it didn't want to do an iron butt that day. I was 2.5, 3 hours away from home, not including the time that it took my son to drive an hour to go get the trailer and the truck to come get me. Yes, Shane, it was the same van that munched my finger. That van and me, I don't like vans. I'm not a van person. That vans don't like me, and I don't like them. We've had that kind of love-hate relationship since I was young. Although I've been looking at vans lately for taking bikes to shows and stuff rather than the trailer. But every time I look at a van, I cringe. I have pain. My finger hurts. My head hurts. My pride hurts because I done drove one through a garage door. But I mean, but my dad, after that whole thing, he went and told my grandpa about it. And my grandpa laughs. My grandpa lives on a hill. Well, lived. His house had a big hill driveway, and he lived on that hill. Well, come to find out, he had bought a van. And he had the same style garage door that picked up like this. And, well, he was test driving that van. He hadn't bought it yet. He was test driving that van. He decided that he liked it. But he liked to be able to park in his garage. And back then, garages were made for cars. Okay. His van looked like it. My grandpa was a very smart man. Built motorcycles, built houses, construction, built machineries as a machinist. I know he knew how to measure things. But anyways, with all that being said, my grandpa got that van, test drive it, and opened the door up. Wanted to see if the van would fit. Well, he pulled the van in, and, well, it didn't clear, and the hinge part, handle part, I don't remember which part it was, but it ripped down like a can opener, right down the crease, right down the middle of that roof. My grandpa took that van back to the dealership and said, well, he didn't want it. It didn't fit in his garage. And my grandpa was honest, and he said, there's a hole in the roof of it, and I guess I got to pay for the repair on it. And the salesman told him as long as he bought a vehicle, they would take care of it. So he bought a Ford truck and never bought a van. My grandpa never bought, I don't think my grandpa ever bought a van after that. Yeah, that's my other thing. You know, my wife told me she'd go to more, Miss Salty there, she said she'd go to more rallies than me, but she likes to stay in the hotel, and I'm not a hotel. I like hotels. Everybody likes hotels. But her idea of roughing it is going to a hotel. My idea of roughing it is maybe have a tent. So, but I've been, every time I look at travel trailers and toy haulers, and he always looks like the 150, 160. The ones that she likes are the 150, $200,000 Prevos, and I don't. I'm not about that. I'd be happy throwing a 10 up. Yes, a 10. It's easier to carry on a motorcycle. So after this weekend show, we were taking my granddaughter home to my daughter's house, and she's got some big pine trees out by her house. And, well, granddaughter's in the back seat. I'm driving the truck with this trailer on the back, but we got extended height, extended width trailer, big old 24-foot enclosed cargo trailer with some motorcycles in it. And I'm watching all the cars on the side, tight turns in the big cities that she lives in, and everything's tight, these pine trees. And I looked in the mirror, and it cleared. I know it cleared. I think it just grew. The tree grew when I was driving by it. And well, one of them branches just decided to grow out just a little bit more. It caught the front part of the trailer. Luckily, it folded back. And by that time, I'd seen it was growing. And it just grew right then. So I turned the wheel to get away from it. So it caught the side and kind of wrinkled the side and down the side of it. And I mean, you're inside the truck. You could feel it. I didn't think anybody else could hear it. That tree grew so fast, I didn't think anybody hear that tree grow into the side of the trailer. And so I park and get my granddaughter out, and I'm trying to ignore the trailer situation. Not even look at it. I didn't want to see it. I was kind of mad that that tree grew that branch like that. And my granddaughter, 3 years old, gets out of the truck. First thing she does is walks up to the trailer, and she calls me D.A.M. And now my wife's still in the truck because she knows I'm a little salty about this whole thing. I'm not real happy. So I'd set her down, got her all undone and set her down. And she turns around and walks right back. See you later, Shane. And she walks back to the trailer. She looks right at the trailer. She said, D.A.M, what'd you do? That's what I said. The tree grew. She's like, that tree's been there. You hit the tree, didn't you? And my wife's up front. She's rolling now. She can't be mad at me. I'm mad at myself. But, now nobody can be mad. You just 3-year-old just told you, oh, that tree didn't grow. That tree don't grow fast like that. So it's one of those things that happens. So I'm gonna get that fixed sooner or later. But that's just one of those funny things that happen. All right. Let's see here. I got to figure out how to add you, Dave. I see you're on here. All right, there we go. Add the stage. There you go. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing good, man. I saw the link earlier.
You.
I was so busy doing other things. My girlfriend called.
On my end or your end? Is your mic on?
Oh.
I think your mic's muted, Dave. Did you get it?
Did I?
He's getting it figured out. We'll get it figured out real quick. So
yeah,
we're good. You can hear him?
Can everybody hear me?
Oh, wait a second. Maybe it may be on. It's probably on my end.
Yeah, I thought everything looked okay.
I can hear you now.
Oh, all right, cool. No, I saw your
link on my end. I'm sorry.
I was just so busy. My girlfriend called me. She's at work. She only had a minute. And
everything looked okay. I can hear you now. Oh. Oh. Hold on just a second.
I'm low. How low can we go? Let me find my other microphone. Might help a little. Or go into my settings. I don't know. I switched computers a short time ago.
There we go. Can you guys hear me now? There we go.
Yep. Yes.
All right. I had to change mics and yeah. Sorry about that. Mine's got an external mic and it was trying to use that for the headphones too. So how you been, Dave?
It's been a rough year for everybody, I think, or a lot of people anyway. But it'll get better. It always does.
Yeah. It always gets better. So.
Well, I mean, and right before it turned and started being iffy, I got an 81 a police special shovelhead.
Nice.
I mentioned that earlier. Been converted to points and the kickstart and carburetor, right? Got an S&S on it. Love riding that thing. I love
How's that going?
Yeah, I had a fresh motor in it, and I broke it in really good. I did a lot of when I get off work at night, I'd ride around town, get off to 35, run up to 55, 60, get on the highway, go up to, a few miles up the road, running 65, come back. And I did that for 500 miles, just different speeds and didn't really get on it, didn't lug it, nothing like that. And it seemed to work pretty good, man, because I broke it in and then I changed the oil and, checked everything, tightened the head bolts down and all that stuff. And it seems to be running pretty good.
Nice. Last time I seen you were having trouble wiring on one of your bikes. Did you ever get the Springer one wiring figured out on the Springer?
That was a while back. The brake light was stuck on, and what happened was it was in the switch because I drilled holes in the handlebars and run the wires through the handlebars. I'll never do that again.
Yeah,
I just wire tie them to the outside. I mean, it's so much simpler.
Oh, yeah,
that's what it was. So I ordered new switches, and I was leaving Tombstone, Arizona in July 13th. I think it was a Saturday. and been hanging around. I hadn't ate all day or nothing. I got on the bike. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm tired. I was going to wait on a buddy of mine because I usually go into town, have a couple beers, then I'll eat and drink water. Well, I hadn't had nothing to eat. So I've been drinking water for about 2 or 3 hours after a couple of beers, and I left, and I got so tired I was ready to lay down and go to sleep. I was just tired. And wait on him to get off work, and he said, well, he's going to stay late and help out here and that. Like, shit. So I just hopped on the bike and took off. I actually fell asleep on the bike about a quarter mile down the road.
Oh, man.
Fell over like, what the hell? And I woke up, some guy was behind me in the car, and he helped me pick me up and said, I don't know what that was all about, right? So then I took off to the corner, and I went to take off, and I went, you know what? I got 27 miles to go home. I don't want to take that chance of doing that again. So, right? So I went out and I turned around this parking lot, and in the meantime, one of my saddlebags had come open, and a strap came out of it. When I turned the bike back up, I went down and turned around. I got almost all the way around that turnaround, and the strap caught in the wheel and stopped me dead.
Oh, man.
Boom! And I went off the bike, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but the lump right there.
Yeah, broke your
Yeah,
collarbone.
I busted my shoulder pretty good. I was in shock. Cops show up, the ambulance, all that stuff. And I'm like, holy shit, I just should have stayed where I was, right? I remember every bit of, I wasn't drunk or nothing, but cop shows up and, well, I smell beer on your breath. I had one like 4 hours ago. Been drinking water ever since. I just went going home and get some food and go to sleep. And, well, I'm going to give you breath. And at the time, the pain hadn't really set in, but
Right.
just the whole thing was just surreal. And I was kind of in shock, I think I was in shock. That's why it didn't hurt. And, well, I need to do this. You don't care about how I feel. You're not going to check the head injury or anything like that. My bike's laying on the side of the road. Nope, we're going to do it. I said, I just told her to pound sand up her ass. she put me in handcuffs. The ambulance showed up, took blood, and they let me go. So, but I got a broken shoulder out of it. But that was in July, and I ain't heard a word from him since. So.
As bad as it sounds, that could have been better than the other wearing bracelets, though.
Yeah. Well, there's the thing about, I live in Cochise County, Arizona, and the thing about Cochise County and the law enforcement here, because this is red and white territory. They pretty much control everything, right? And a lot of the law enforcement, the judges are ex-red and white from back in the day. But I learned something that night. I mean, I was in shock and I was mad because I just wanted to go home and go to sleep. But I should have just cooperated with her, and I probably just could have, went home.
Right.
Well, I did. I actually stayed with my buddy. She let me go. He's ex big time old school red and white. So he talked to her, and she's like, "Okay, I'll let you go home with him." All right, cool. And I was fine. I wouldn't have left if I wasn't fine. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it was a funny situation at the time when I got there. Then I woke up the next morning on his couch. It's like, oh shit. And I fought that for a while. I still went to work, man. But that's why that's just there's a lot of new school guys like that, but old school, man, we'd fall down all the time and get stupid and just didn't give a shit the next day. Just keep on going, right?
So my buddy one time was at the bar and he'd had too much drink, and we talked him out of riding, and I decided I was going to ride his motorcycle home. He had a pretty nice chopper, had a big open belt primary, and it was a lot. It had a red tag motor, had a lot of power to it. In fact, it had 250 rear tire on it. We've been doing burnouts on it earlier in the night. And I decided I'd ride it home. Well, I got it started up and pulled the clutch in. I thought I'd do one last burnout before we left the bar. He wouldn't have minded, but the problem was he failed to tell anybody he put one of them rotor locks on the front of the bike. So when I popped that clutch and let the tire go, the tire was spinning, and as soon as I decided I was going to go, bike didn't go because it had that rotor lock on. It made about a 3/4 of a revolution of the front tire. When that rotor lock come around and hit the caliper, stung and the handlebars went just like you hit the front brakes on gravel. Same scenario.
Right.
And I dumped it. I mean, there was 50 people outside watching, and I dumped it right in front of everybody. Face first, planted face right down. I get up, and everybody's kind of just in shock looking, and my face is, I got gravel all over my side of my face, probably a little bit of raspberry, and everybody's looking at the bike, and I'm thinking, man, this hurts. Well, you know, it messed up. Nice bike. It messed the paint up on it, everything. And we're like, he's gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
Well, we got it back to him, and he's like, well, I didn't get a drunk driving. You were nice enough to try to take my bike home. He's like, I probably should have told you about the rubber lock.
You think?
So, but it happened. But that was a good wipeout. I've had some good ones. So, what are you got? You got any rallies coming up or anything? Because you got nice weather out there.
Oh yeah, man. It's like I don't know what it is. Like it's like 87 right now. It's dried up. We had a monsoon season and it quit raining about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or so. It just rained every freaking day for like 4 months. But it's getting better. It's getting cooler. Still a little warm, but not too bad. It's got a lot drier, so you don't sweat so much, right?
That's nice weather right there.
Well, I just put my 2-week notice in this morning at my job, and I went out. I didn't show up for work, so I called my coworker. Does the same thing I do. And he says we're not busy at all. So I just slept in and got up, drank my coffee, and had breakfast and washed dishes that I blew off last night. You know what I'm saying? I'm here by myself, but. Yeah, and I've been thinking about it for a while now, and I had 3 or 4 different prospects. And I got up, and one of the office girls I work with, ex-husband likes recruiting. He left there, and they got a divorce, and he went to work for somebody else. So I went down to CMEX and tried to find this guy. Oh yeah, we know him. I got his number, and I called him, and he said, yeah, I get a bonus, man, if somebody refers me and stuff. And I told him how much experience I have. So I've got 30, 35 years experience in trucking and, rock quarries and coal mines and all the heavy equipment, all that stuff. I've done all that since 1984, actually. Got out of it for a little bit. But anyway, beside the point. But called him up and told him what was going on and said I was looking for something else. And he said, well, yeah, man, you got that experience. He said, he'll hire you tomorrow. So, all right. So I drove up today, actually, and he was leaving as I was pulled in. But there's a couple of copper mines around here in southern Arizona. There's 2 of them. The closest ones are 50 miles away. But right. I'm not going to drive my pickup truck at 75 mile an hour, getting 16 miles a gallon, 100 miles there and back every day, man. That'll eat me up. I don't care how good they pay, $35 an hour or whatever it is, but might as well stay local. I figured it in my head, I figured up the numbers, and I'll stay here local for $25 an hour. It's only 4 miles from the house.
There you go.
Right. Save some time. But anyway, I could ramble on forever, but that's kind of the way it's going. Got in a bind. The girl I lived with for 11 years, met her in last of June in 11 years ago, and found out late September she had cancer. She died the 1st of June.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I lost my over-the-road job in February. My mom died in March. She went in the hospital right before my mom died. Then she died in June. I got a dog and a cat. It was like, so I got to work local. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that happened, but life gets in the way. That's for sure.
It does, man. I mean, I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that, but it's been. I've talked to a lot of people. It's been a rough year for a lot of people. It's been a rough year.
Oh yeah. Yeah, life got busy for us too. My family wise, because we had the opposite. But I had 2 grandbabies born right away, so back to back within a month from 2 different kids, and that'll slow you down right there too.
You think? Yeah, it does, man.
So I bet that was with the 3-year-old, and we had some stuff we went through too with her. So, and my daughter, she's a single mom, and she's works in management at the store, so she works all the time. It seems like, but she's got to work to raise a kid, and but
Yeah.
we get a lot of time with her, and I like having that 3-year-old around. So.
Our grandkids are great, but we go to bed earlier than we used to.
Let me tell you, my 3-year-old granddaughter, she don't sleep. This kid,
Right.
but she can stay. Her mom has her go to bed at 7:30. I don't do that. We might be up watching TV till 10 o'clock or something, but this kid at 5:30 every morning has an alarm clock that goes off, and she don't go. There's no snooze button. Well, maybe if you hit it hard enough, there would be, but she don't have a snooze button.
Wow.
So she gets up and she's up to stay. So she just but I love she comes out and shop with me and she'll work out here. Like the other day we'll come out here and she had picked up screwdrivers and she kind of acted like she's working on it, and that was great. So but yeah, I didn't know you lost. I knew you'd had some problems come up, but I didn't know you lost her. So
yeah, I mean, it's I still think about it. It's still the thing is, it's just that we had some problems. It's a long story, and I'm not going to get all into it, man. But I hooked up with her, and it was fine for a little while, and then she got controlling and needy and stuff, and you know how life goes on, right? But it got to the point where she kept having all these different medical problems and everything else. She couldn't take care of herself. Well, being a Capricorn, man, I just feel the need to take care of everybody, and I did. And we slept I bought this house 2.5 years ago, and we've slept in separate bedrooms for the last over 2 years.
Gotcha.
And it had nothing to do with each other. So basically, I was just taking care of her. So that kind of eases it a little bit that we're not so close, So I want everybody to understand that, man. I mean, if anybody else, people say, "Oh, I'm sorry about your loss," and I do it all the time. I lose people, and friends lose people all the time. You really care, but you can't let it ruin your life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't care enough about people that way. So it was a situation where she was just living here, and I was supporting her. So, but at the same time, we had 9-10 years of a relationship, and it still, kind of messes with you every now and then.
Right.
But got to move on, dude. Right?
Yep.
Gotta move on.
Yep. So is your shoulder fully healed now?
Well, it's they said it was as bad as it could get, and what it is, this hair connects here. Then you got your shoulder bone, or this, right? When it disconnects here, it's almost like it's a spring, and it pops loose and it springs up. They said all they can do about it is push it back down and screw it into the bone below. They said 99 times out of 100, it's going to crack that bone. It's going to come loose anyway. He said, and the doctor that told me this had the same injury, only a little bit more, not quite as bad. And he says, best thing to do, man, he said, you'll regain function fully. And I have. I just got to the point last couple of weeks I could sleep on this shoulder again, and everything's fine. So I'll just leave it alone. The pain's gone.
No.
But I like this chat tonight, man. We've all been through a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I'd like to try to get on here on Mondays about 7 o'clock and maybe a little bit later. Yeah. It's just hard for me to schedule it because I got all these bikes going on. I got work, I got family, grandkids. It seems like every time I try to plan something, somebody else jumps in there and plans it for me. I got 15 other planners planning everything for me, but I don't mind it. It's just it keeps you busy, keeps you on your toes, keeps you young. So,
well, it does, yeah, all that does. But just my thought is, you want to get on your Monday night for 2 or 3 hours, make this Papaw's time, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is that? Well, sometimes I get out here and I try to start working on stuff, and I'm like, if I jump on here, I don't get working on nothing. Hey, there's DDK. Yeah. I think he went. DDK, did you go to the smokeout, or not the smokeout rally, but the Smoky Mountains rally? I think that's down by you.
Yeah, I was wanting to go to that, man, but things just changed this year.
Yeah.
Got kind of tight, you know. So
that one kind of creeped up on me. In fact, I was talking to Ray's Moto, and he told me there was 2 of them. And then by the time we kind of figured everything out, and I missed out on that one, but I couldn't have done that one now anyways, because it's the traveling part of it's the hard part for me right now. Especially after I just tried to put a window in the side of the trailer this weekend. So,
man, I went last weekend. I just got devoted into the American Legion Riders.
Okay.
And I love those guys, man. It took me I've been here almost 2.5 years, and I hung out with them the whole time. But I just wanted to make sure before I join anything that I get along with everybody, and I do. So last weekend, I left here on the Chopper, which is a Heritage Softail Classic with a Springer front end and Mustang seat, right? And I was thinking the night before, planning this, put the backrest on it because I got the Mustang seat, which is just a solo seat, but I got the thing for the backrest and a pad and a short sissy bar for the girlfriend, right? When she comes down. And I got up in the morning, had a cup of coffee, didn't have time for another one. I was half asleep. I forgot to put the backrest on there. I don't have a windshield. And I drove 25 minutes to Benson, met everybody there. And then we drove another probably 2 hours and 10 minutes up to by Phoenix. And then coming back, I'm following these guys on these road couches with the windshield and the cruise control, right? And we're doing 80 mile an hour in a headwind. I got no windshield, no backrest, new boots that won't fucking stay on my foot pads. Time we got within half hour of my house, I had to pull over. I was wore out, dude. I mean, I was just trying to hold on. I said, I'll never do that again. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what happens when you get older. When I was younger, I had a 81 Ironhead Roadster. I bought it in Indianapolis, Indiana. 4.5 days later, I was in San Diego. If I had to do that again, I'd die.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things on riding. Like I rode over to Milwaukee, which for us isn't a long ride, but when I rode that hardtail chopper over there.
Wow.
And it's 4.5, 5 hours without traffic. And then we got stuck in downtown Chicago with some traffic and it started raining. No front fender, Springer front end, 240 rear tire. I mean, I was throwing water everywhere and people were.
Wow, yeah.
I was riding with some guys on road couches, but they wanted me to lead because I knew where I was going. I couldn't see where I was going, but I knew where I was going. But when you can't see, knowing where you're going don't do no good. So
No.
my wife's riding beside me, and she's realized now that I literally my glasses are full of rain. I can't. She's realizing that I'm going down this tollway, and I really can't see anything because I'm looking at her sideways. I'm watching her and what she's doing. And she looks over at me and she's like, "You can't see," and just give me the thumbs up, And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I can't see," and thumbs down. So we're slowly getting slower and slower. And now I've taken my bandana off that I had on my head and I've wrapped it around my face, trying to slow the water stream down from the front. And we stop at a toll booth, and the lady at the toll booth is asking me to pay, and I'm trying to get money out, and I'm soaked. My money's dripping water, and I pay for all the bikes, but everybody's got to stop individually. Well, because I'm stopped, I can actually see what's going on, and I pull over to the shoulder, and I'm like, "We're just gonna wait. It's raining so hard, we gotta wait." And the guys on the Badgers are like, "We wanted to stop back there at the Oasis thing, but you just kept going." I was like, I didn't see nothing back there, but they like, "We wanted to stay back there so long ago." So, but it was funny because I couldn't.
How long ago was that?
I was for the 110th, I think. Yep. And ever since then, I ride my road glide now, and more of those than the choppers. But I still like riding choppers, but I try to keep them around town.
You don't have a front fender on your chopper?
No.
I don't either. When it rains, that sucks, man. You're right.
So I did figure out a trick from an old guy. he told me take the bandana that I had wrapped around my face and wrap it between your front forks, just above the front tire, and that'll
Oh,
stop that rain from slinging up in your face.
good
And it
idea.
works.
It's a great idea.
Hmm. That's why if you look at some of the older choppers from the 70s and everything, you've seen that bandana wrapped
Hey,
around.
you're right. I forgot about
That's what I
that.
had
That
it
is
there.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that stops a lot of that rain. It doesn't stop it all, but it stopped a lot of it.
You don't have to be cool. You just have to look cool.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great, man. Hey, we should do this more often. I love talking old school stuff. Maybe we can get more people involved in talking old school
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I grew up around this. Like, I am third generation all day long from motorcycles. Like my grandpa was big into them. My dad was huge into them. Both my grandpas on both sides of my family. My uncle on the other, on my mom's side. My mom was into bikes. But my kids being fourth generation. I mean, that's what a lot of people, when we go to the shows, legitimately, my son's a fourth generation builder. And being able to find pictures, and I found some old real movies of my dad that my dad had made when he was younger and on motorcycles and choppers and stuff. Hey, XAN, he's a good guy too, man. I met him in St. Louis and been following him right along. Sam's a good guy. So, but yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the 500 subscriber. It hit so fast. I hadn't really planned on what I was going to do for a giveaway or anything, but I'm going to do something because having 500 subscribers hit that fast. I just looked one day and it was there. So I haven't
You don't
decided.
have to do anything. Man. You don't have to do anything. You don't
I
have
know,
to do
but
anything.
I kind of want to because it's kind of, I appreciate everybody following it. So, and do you see that ring I showed earlier? Dave, do you see that ring I got from the D.A.M show?
I think my girlfriend called right at the time you were showing it. Show me again.
Hold on,
I caught a glimpse of it. Yeah.
So that's from
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's from the D.A.M motorcycle show, Detroit Antique Motorcycle. Got that from my son, taking my son's bike there. He puts on a great show.
That's cool.
So, but I never thought I'd be so much into the show part of it, going to motorcycle shows and stuff. Right? There's a lot more old school bikes and stuff coming into them.
Right.
In fact, when I rolled up the show on Sunday, I think I talked about it earlier, my chopper did some chopper things. And when I could pull it out of the trailer and I turned the ignition on, headlight came on, I reached down, hit the start. It didn't click. It didn't do nothing. So I messed with it for a second, couldn't get it to do nothing. So I rolled it up the show and I pushed it. It wasn't super far, but maybe 50 yards. Pushed it and I put the kickstand down. And there was a old 60s chopper build, old knucklehead chopper. It was nice. Parked right next to it. And I'm talking to the guy and kind of looking at my bike, trying to figure out why it wouldn't start. And then I go back and get my son's bike and set that one up. And the people are coming over looking at his bike and looking at my bike. And we talked the whole day about old school choppers and everything. And I get back on my bike and push it back in the trailer, got it home, went to pull it out and bring it in the shop and look at it and hit the button and it started right up. So it just decided it didn't want to cooperate at that time. So
it was tired. It's just,
battery was fine. Everything was fine. The chopper thing.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But, yeah, I like the older stuff, and I mean that's kind of like there's 3 baggers in here, and I like them, but I'd rather do the old cool chopper kind of thing. And the one I'm building right here, that's sitting here, the one I was building on the live stream, it got chosen not to be live stream anymore because of some upcoming stuff for it. So
I come to think of it, just popped into my head. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I have a question because you're more of a mechanic than I am. I'm knowledgeable in old school stuff and I like old school, but I'm not a I don't work on them as much as you do. You know way more than me.
Right.
I have the old shovel head, 81 shovel head. It's a police special, been converted over to, well, of course, it came out with electronic ignition and all the fancy shit, right? It's been converted over to points, S&S carburetor. The problem I'm having is the motor's fresh, motor's fine, transmission leaks. What would it hurt? I mean, I'm thinking back in 81, the specs on the tranny. What would it hurt to have like you have your heads, you know what I mean? Just to take the transmission apart and have it evened out, because the technology nowadays just takes a small amount off of it, just make it flush where it will stop leaking. Do you think that would be too much? Would it hurt anything?
Well, it's a shovel head. It might not run if it doesn't leak.
Good point.
No, but that's
you know what? I take back everything I said, because the shovelhead character is leaking. Never mind.
No, but seriously, you could do that. What you just said. The other thing is that if you had it shaved down that way and trued up, I mean, as bad as it sounds, but the European motorcycles and the German motorcycles, the machining is so much better that a lot of them don't even use gaskets in places that we use them, even on their vehicles. So yes, the theory on the better machining is a big thing on the leak. And the other thing I've done is I use Napa's got this silicone. It's called the right stuff, and it dries in like 10 minutes almost, and it's really good for oils and everything. And I use that on a lot of my transmission stuff. And when I split the cases, I use that Permatex for all that stuff, because it seals up better than any other kind of Permatex, or a lot of times than gaskets. So it's a nice forming gasket. But I don't think it would hurt a bit, because, I mean, shovel heads, iron heads, that early 80s, late 70s Harley stuff, I mean, you can measure it with a yardstick and you're going to be within closeness of the tolerances. So they don't have a huge tolerance.
It runs fantastic. It runs fantastic. I'm just running out of cardboard to put down on the garage floor, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's it. I mean, that's why it's running good, because shovelheads, if they're not marking their territory, shovelhead's not running really.
No. Oh, it's real close. I got it down to potato, but I got it pretty quick from the guy just after he rebuilt it. So I'm having to tune the carburetor up just a little bit, and I'm experimenting with that every time I ride it. You know, it's not the kind of thing on a shovel head. You go, you put potato, and then it dies. Yep. You go, fuck. You give it a little gas, starts right back up, right? But it's like you set the idle just a little bit higher, but it's too high to get the potato. But you got to have that. You got to have that S&S set just right, man. But it runs good.
I got them on three bikes in here. S&S carburetors are great when they work.
Yeah.
When they're not working, they're junk.
Yeah.
But they have a fine line. They either work or they don't. You know, they're not the most dependable carburetors that I've ran into in my situations. I've been going a lot to the stock Harley carburetors. I've a couple of my builds just because it's just easier, more defendable. They don't look as pretty, but man, they run.
Well, I bought the bike like that. So here's another question, because I don't know, and you would know. The 81 Police Special came out with electronic ignition and I think fuel injection, probably. I think it did. And I got the kickstart. Didn't come out with kickstart. Only had electric start after 72, whatever. But it has 4 spark plugs. Well, from what I understand, you can't run points with 4 spark plugs. You have to go to electronic because you don't have enough voltage or whatever it is. So here's my question. I have 4 spark plugs. I'm running off 2 on the left side with points, carburetor, and I have electric start and kickstart. would it be more beneficial to me to go back to the way it was and run all 4 plugs? I'm sure it would give me more power probably. But I mean, what would you do if you had that bike? Would you go back to the original setup or keep it old school?
I'd probably leave it kind of the way that it is. And maybe if I was to build it up a little bit, maybe what do you have in the holes for the other 2 spark plugs right now? Is there spark plugs there?
Spark plugs.
I would almost go with a compression release for when you kickstart it. You can push the compression. They have the screw-in compression releases. Put them in place of those 2 spark plugs.
No, I don't think so.
Because then it would make it start easier.
Oh, I'll kick that damn thing for half an hour and you get pissed off. Just hit the.
That's the only thing. But I would leave 2 spark plugs and I wouldn't change it back, especially not with the electronic start. So,
it's not real fast, but it runs real good. It sounds good.
So it's a shovel head.
Yeah.
So the shovel heads are great. I like them, but they I had bad luck with a shovel head, so I haven't did another one yet.
Yeah.
Bad kickstart experience with an old shovel head, and I've kept away from them since.
Yeah.
But I just
I haven't really had old bikes for a while. I got my 09 twin cam, and it's pretty dependable.
Yeah,
my twin cam's got the hydraulic cam tensioners, and it's been pretty dependable. 96 cubic inch. I bypassed the little plastic blow-by things come out of the carburetor back in.
Yeah.
Got rid of those, and I run hose off into a T and out the bottom. I had it in a filter for a while to see what kind of mess I was getting out of it. My spark plugs look really good. I put the FP3 Vance and Hines on it, and I went 2 oil changes without changing the spark plugs, and then it started popping a little bit. But I pulled the spark plugs out. They look like they're gray. They look pretty good. I changed them anyway. World of difference, man. So that just goes back to, like always thought before, every oil change the spark plugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, on the older stuff, I change every year. I change the plugs first as a habit. I change the plugs every year, depending on how much I ride, but I always put plugs in them. I change all the fluids. In all of the bikes, even ones whether I rode them a ton or not, every year at the beginning of the season they all get the same thing. So
XAN says 2 separate coils.
Yeah.
Oh, you saw 2 separate coils on the 4 plug bike that I was talking about, this police bike?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's called.
Yeah.
You kind of run it. It's like a dual fire setup. You have 2 coils.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, I love it though, man. It's just the handlebars are right here. You're sitting up on the solo seat with the badge windshield, man. This is the coolest fucking bike ever. I love riding it.
I always said when I get a shovel head going again, I'm gonna go get all that everybody's wearing Vans now, riding all the Dynas.
Yeah. I'm
gonna get me a pair of bowling shoes, right? For the AMF days and get a little shovel head and ride around them.
That would be great. Video that, man.
That'd be kind of like the period correct kind of shoes for the jumpy kind of people back there. Would be a pair of bowling shoes during the AMF days.
And don't forget when you start the video, take the foot spray, go psh, psh, each shoe, and then put it on.
There you go. Yep. Kids rolling around with skateboards on the back of their bikes now. I'll take a bowling ball and put it back there.
That'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. You should do that, man. That would be epic. That's funny. Yep. I love talking about the old school stuff, man. There's a lot of older guys on here, man, that appreciate what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think we're all getting older, but I sit down. I told my dad I want to sit down with him and talk to him and record him and talk about the stuff when he back in the 50s and when he was young, doing the stuff in the 60s and everything, and get all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I did that. I did that about 20 years ago, and I got a little over 3 hour video of my Uncle Bill. He died, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. He was in Vietnam, got to have his head blown off. He was in, he got out in 66. And I remember when I was young, this has been 30, 35 years ago. I bought a camera and a tripod, and I sat and I videotaped him. It was a business idea at the time. Well, where were you born? What school did you go to? And just about his life. And he was so interesting. We went on for over 3 hours. I have that CD right there. I can pick that CD out of the stack right there. I have it. I don't watch it a lot. I've watched it one other time since I made it. But so interesting, man, talking about Vietnam and growing up in the 60s and being, I forget what year he was born, 48 or 45, whatever it was. But stuff like it. You talk about your dad, man. That's so you might think about that, man. Just sit down with a camera, have him explain his life to you. You hand down with the grandkids and stuff like that. That's why I did it.
But, I've been thinking about doing it that way too, just for that reason. Because I mean, one of the things. So they lived in an apartment complex. Right, it was probably just after I was born, but they had like a duplex in an apartment complex, and the courtyard was behind their. Like if you went out the back door, it was a courtyard inside. But they would build inside the duplex. Him and his buddy were building choppers in the living room of this apartment. And they had torches inside the apartment, and they're cutting and welding frames right inside this apartment, painting. And they go out in the courtyard. And my dad took a balloon and he filled it full of acetylene and lit it. When it blew up, it blew the windows out of every apartment complex in the whole thing. So he told, well, I didn't hear about my one of his buddies told me about this just a few years ago. And I asked my dad about it. And he's like, yeah, but they didn't tell you about the time I was messing with trying to make an M80 in the garage and I blew the garage door right off. He's like, literally, it blew up and it blew the garage door, blew all the windows out of the garage. And he said, in fact, that's the garage door that. The new garage door is the one that you drove the van through. So,
oh man,
yeah, he's got some crazy. He was strict when I was a kid, so I never knew how crazy he was and how much stuff he used to do. In fact, my grandpa was a real stickler riding motorcycles. I got to jump off here pretty soon, but this one just reminded talking to you about that. And so, when I got a motorcycle, I was at the house and showing it to my dad, and I left my dad's house and I rode over to my grandpa's. I was super happy. First motorcycle to show it to my grandpa, and he come walking out of the garage and grabbed a hold of something. I didn't see what it was, and he walked up and I thought he was going to pat me on the back, and I say congratulations. He smacked me on the back of the head with a helmet because I didn't have a helmet on. He had a helmet in his hand, had it by the chin strap, and swung that thing around and smacked me in the back of the head with it. I mean, it hurt, and I get back on it. Now I'm mad, right back home. And I get off and I'm kind of rubbing my head. I went to tell my dad, and he's like, you know what you forgot to do when you rode over Grandpa's? You forgot to wear a helmet, but you probably wore one when you got there. He said, because when I was a kid and I took off down the road with no helmet on, when I came back, he beat me with a helmet. I said, yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, yeah, my grandpa always, even when I was older, if you went to my grandpa's house, you wore a helmet, because if not, you were going to wear a helmet.
Right.
So he always thought that. So
that's funny. Yeah, man. I mean, I was never taught anything. I just kind of banged my head up and learned as I went. But. Especially jumping ramps back in the 70s on the bicycle in the early 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Set that ramp up a couple of concrete blocks, get cranking down the road on that Stingray bike, and
we never wore helmets when we were kids.
No,
bicycles, you wore helmets.
They didn't sell bike helmets when we were kids.
Nope. But I've been going at this for about 2 hours, so dinner's probably inside waiting for me, so I think I'm gonna jump off here and go inside and eat. Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks for stopping in, Dave. I'll try to do this again next Monday about the same time.
That'd be cool, man.
Yeah,
I just have one thing to say before I go, and it's going to be very short. You were talking earlier in the stream about more or less the confidence of doing the streams and everything. I think this turned out good. And the reason I came on here is because I felt the same way when I started. And eventually you build up confidence. Just be yourself. And the people that love you will show up.
Right. Well, I appreciate that. And that's the way I am normally. It's just, I don't know what it is about the camera. I mean, but I get like DDK. I mean, that guy's great. I mean, for an old guy like him and come in and do all this technical stuff, I mean, it's great seeing him in here because he's not that much older than me, but I like to give him crap. And, you know,
He's
a lot
okay
of being injured, being on here, hanging out injured after Lally probably strung him through the washer and hit him with a rolling pin and told him to get in the house. But so, you guys are all great. Shane's in here still. You guys hang out this whole time, 2 hours. I appreciate it. Next time I jump on, I'll try to give a little bit of heads up. Like I'll try to do it next Monday too. And then we'll see how it goes. I don't know how much work and stuff I'll do. I kind of like to sit around talking more than working in the shop, because I can't do both. I'm not able to do both. I start working and then somebody jumps on, I start talking to them and I can't do it. So, well, I am going to jump off here. You guys have a good night. Have a good week. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks for having me, man. See y'all.
No problem. Thanks for coming on.